Alright, 2 more episodes of Manifest Season 4 Part 1, and even though we might have wasted probably way too much time on the 828 serial killer last couple episodes, we are finally getting somewhere, and I feel like we're the closest we've ever been to getting some answers. I'll leave my last video linked in the description and at the end screen of this video. We went over episodes 6, 7, and 8, and then today we're just going to go over episode 9. But the biggest things to remember going into this one are first just the Omega Sapphire in general and the connection. Egan, Marco, and then maybe TJ are the only people who know where it might be. Angelina is still alive, of course. And then don't forget about those kidnapped passengers, because we also found out that the Major's experiments might have worked to an extent. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification button, and let's get into Manifest Season 4, Episode 9. I'm pretty sure that's pronounced Rendezvous. Alright, we're only 1 minute in, and I'm pissed, bro. Not only is Cal's cancer back, but he's looking at days rather than weeks. Days, bro? What happened, man? I just feel like it's happening too fast, but I could be wrong. Anyway, after that terrible news, we see tonight is Mick and Zeke's wedding anniversary dinner. Let's just hope everyone can make it to it. Jesus Christ. Bro, not again. Jared, leave them alone, man. God, I mean, actually imagine if you're Zeke. Like, do I need to explain why it's so strange that Jared is always around and then coming to this dinner? Like, I love him, man, but me personally, like, that couldn't be me. That just couldn't be me. After everyone does their toast and Cal hides his diagnosis from the family, Sanvi, Ben, Mick, and Cal have a calling of them back on the plane, and it's going through extreme turbulence while Zeke, Jared, and Olive are just sitting unbothered in one of the rows. Before we get any answers, they come back too, of course, and they all said that the calling felt foreboding, like it was telling them they were running out of time. And we find out that Olive, Jared, and Zeke were actually sitting in Mick, Ben, and Cal's seats on the plane. Something's up, man, but Sanvi saw Thomas the stowaway in the calling, so they assume this means that he's in danger. Cal also saw the overhead light come on, and after he describes where it was, Ben, with his, I don't even know how he figured this out, recognizes that seat as Marco's. So Cal needs to talk to him again, but he's way too sick, so Zeke and Jared go instead. Again, strange. Egan is sneaking around the temple, and he leads himself to the basement. He sees a door with a piece of brick on top that says XIX, which is 19 in Roman numerals. I'm like 99% sure. Somehow he already knows what to do, so he breaks the piece off and takes it. This guy's up to something sus, man. I just know it. Finally, let's go Team Detective. This is what I've been waiting for. But Olive seems pretty stuck in her current search, but little does she know that she's actually piecing everything together right now. So one of the only references she found to Omega Sapphire in ancient text was a 19th century diary where a traveler met this man that said he was a part of a secret group called the Omega Order, whose sole purpose was to protect a mystical sapphire. Bro, they're actually going the Illuminati route on us right now. Either way, this is clearly the group that met at the Masonic Temple or started this Masonic Temple. Speaking of the temple, Egan keeps finding more and more doors with Roman numerals above them, and he keeps snagging them until he's caught by a worker at the kitchen upstairs. Real quick, just so I don't forget to mention this later, even though I probably will, this is now the 3rd time this season I've heard someone refer to God as she. I'm just saying, did we find this out? Like, am I missing something? If somebody knows, like right now, real quick, just go to the comments, let me know. Why do they keep referring to God as she? But Egan convinces the guy to help him look as they break a door down, and they find Mick and Sanvi in the same room. They had been following a compass calling that led them back to the boiler room where they hid Thomas the stowaway. I think that was season 1. And they assumed that they would find him here. See, when Thomas was supposed to come back, his boyfriend Leo was going to meet him at that fountain with like the statue or whatever. But as we know, the plane disappeared and Leo gave up hope. Leo is his boyfriend, but it turns out that this Leo guy has been working at the soup kitchen upstairs the entire time. I just love to see callings like this. But the compass is pointing towards a wall where Thomas drew Leo's name in a heart, so Egan rightfully gets to smashing it, and guess what's behind it? A piece of brick with a heart carved into it. Y'all ready for another jaw dropper? Alright, so the compass Mick and Sanvi were using was the one with the peacock on it, and they got it from that one prisoner who tried to rob the bank. His name was like Logan Strickland. And that happened to be Egan's cellmate in prison, and Logan told him about the compass. So it originally came from Logan's grandfather, who was a Freemason. Holy shit, bro, they're actually doing it. And he would work out of the temple of the Omega Order. So everything's been leading up to this since day one. Like, this is actually starting to get really dope. So the 4 of them get to ripping down the wall to see what else is behind it, and there's 19 different images on pieces of brick on this wall. Mick recognized them and calls Olive and TJ, and yep, those are tarot cards specifically from Alzurus' deck, like an exact copy of the images. Man, this episode is actually like my favorite so far. TJ and Alzurus are back. So they notice little slots above each card, and since there's 19 numbered bricks and 19 images, they start to line them up with a corresponding number in Alzurus' deck. I think heart was like number one. But real quick, cut over to the other story of this episode. Unlikely duo Zeke and Jared successfully get Marco out of the hospital and back to the stone house to talk to Cal. He grabs Marco's arm, and now this dude can move his arms and shit. I thought this dude was completely brain dead, but they need to get him a pen and paper so he can draw what he's seeing, because right now he's clearly having a calling. He draws some, but then he stops and won't draw until they hand him some crayons, and he's drawing what looks like a volcano. Back to the boiler room, and they have them all lined up, except it's missing the last one in the deck, the world card, which just so happens has a volcano on it, and it looks exactly like Marco's drawing. Alright, now these two stories are fully intertwined, so I'll be cutting back and forth from them. So the difference between the world card and the drawing from Marco is Marco drew a little extra fire at the bottom, and then Mick notices a triangle gate at the bottom of the wall, and it's like a fireplace or something. Either way, they set it on fire, and the whole wall catches on fire as the pieces of brick start to fall off. After the layer of brick is gone, behind it is a drawing of a woman, and there's a hole in her chest, and guess what's in it, man? The fucking Omega Sapphire. Finally, bro. 4 seasons in, and we finally got it. Even though I didn't know about it till last episode. But Egan, of course, is the one who grabs it, and as he takes it out, the room starts to collapse, and of course, he runs away with it and locks them inside. This fucking guy, man. But who comes in to save the day because a calling led them there? Thomas himself, and his and Leo's reunion was not the happy ending I was expecting, but it's the one I needed. No, dude, there's no way that Eden answered Ben's phone when Angelina called, and she's been listening this entire episode, bro. I'm sick. Jared and Zeke go to take Marco home so they can help him find Eden, and everyone kind of packs it up for the day, but Cal's dying. Like, he literally has like a couple days left. Up in the attic, we catch up with Olive and TJ, and this is what I've been waiting for. So Sanvi sent over a picture of the wall to Olive, and guess who that lady was? The same one from the papyrus that told them they were all being judged together. This clearly pointing back to the lifeboat gets Olive all upset. That is such a weird thing to say. Olive all upset. So TJ tries to calm her down and do a tarot reading for fun. I don't know why, but I just thought it was so funny that she pulled out the death card. Like, TJ, man. You tried. We end the episode with Olive finally getting confirmation that Cal has cancer again, and he's gonna die. This scene was just, with them three, it was rough, man. This scene was rough. Sanvi takes Leo to Alex, and after he gets fixed up, they start to have their little moment until Sanvi sees ashes falling. Cut over to Marco, and he kept the volcano snow globe, and it lights up and explodes, and then he sees ashes falling. We see Egan take the sapphire back to his hotel, and then he sees ashes falling. And then we close out back at the stone house as Cal tells everyone what's going on, and you guessed it, it's raining ashes at the stone house too. Except they are sent to a calling back on the plane as it's about to crash, and this time everyone around them is on it, but not passengers. There's Alex, Jared, Leo, you know. And Ben making Cal see this, and then all the other apocalyptic callings and the connection to Noah's Ark as a sign to the end of the world. Not just the passengers are going to die from what happens, everyone will. Then Mick sees a bright blue light shining, and it's coming from Egan as he holds the sapphire. And as he's about to hand it to Mick, he disappears. We cut back to the hotel, and the sapphire is gone, and he's knocked out on the floor. Well, fuck. Wow, yeah, I think it's safe to say this is the best episode of the season so far, and quite possibly one of the best from the series. I literally just said Manifest is becoming fun again, and we get 45 minutes of everyone working together, and not only on some insane developments, but we can now see how everything has led up to this. Let's discuss. So yeah, as predicted, the last remaining Omega Sapphire was in the Masonic Temple. We knew about the history of the Sapphire, but what we learned is a Masonic group called the Omega Order were instructed to protect it. So we can assume, knowing what we know about the Illuminati and shit, that these secret groups were definitely using this Omega Sapphire for their own personal gain. And just like everything mythological Olive and TJ have found, they have been going off those same ancient texts as well. This whole thing goes way deeper than we thought. But yeah, everything has been leading up to this, and I think this is the most rewarded I've ever felt as a Manifest audience member. They didn't know it, but their very first callings were all leading them to the Omega Sapphire. Shit, pretty much every calling, technically. And again, it sucks that Egan was the one who finally figured this out and took the stone for himself, but at least they're the closest they've ever been to finding an answer to the death date. So if I may, just theorize something real quick, I think Noah's Ark has to play into this more than we think. So one could assume that if he was able to talk to God and know that the flood was coming, he was having like a calling of sorts. God chose him for whatever reason, but the end of the world was coming and he needed a messenger. So now that we know it's not just the death date for the passengers, it's the end of the world, I'm thinking God chose 828 to be like Noah, to listen to God and try to either spread the message or stop it from happening. And Adrian used to always call them agents of the apocalypse. To perform these miracles or signs and wonders was leading them to starting the end of the world, but in reality they are like the saviors of the apocalypse. But then the argument comes, without them and everything that happened to them, would the end of the world be coming? If the Omega Sapphire was out there this whole time and it has those powers, someone evil was going to get a hold of it. But yeah, I think I would assume all of us have a better understanding of what's happening after episode 9. It's setting us up very well for the rest of the season. We know that Manifest is fully in on religion now, but the whole Freemason connection, I was not expecting that, but I'm thinking it's going to work well. So far it is. And the path to stopping this must have been around since Moses and Noah and probably even before, because God knows the power of the Omega Stone, and again, in the wrong hands can be catastrophic. And now that Egan got it stolen, I mean, we know it's Angelina. Those volcano callings are looking pretty accurate. So now we have a race for time. Is Cal going to die before they can save him? Are the passengers going to die before they can save the world? Or are they going to be too late and Little Miss Antichrist is going to bring on the apocalypse for everybody? For real, bro, I don't think I've ever been this excited for Manifest. Like, first 8 episodes, I was starting to get skeptical, man. Like, especially the last couple, but episode 9, man, I really feel like we're gonna get answers when it's all said and done. I feel it. I know it. I originally didn't even want it to go in the religion route, but I think they're doing it pretty well now. I mean, yeah, man, I really don't know what else to say. It's game time. Thanks for all the support on the last video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on that notification button, and yeah, I'll see y'all soon.